Welcome to another edition of Roofing It Right with Dave Wally. Dave's not with me today. Today I have Kristin with the Building and Roof Science Division of GAF. Today we're going to talk about a certain area on a roof where it could be very problematic. So we have a membrane that looks kind of weird. It's like down underneath the insulation going up on top through multiple layers. We got something on top. You kind of want to explain what's going on here because you're a lot smarter than me when it comes to stuff like this.
Well, what's going on here, Wally, is we have a special type of cold storage area where we may have a warm side where I'm standing and then a cold side where you are. And so what we want to do is make sure that we're separating out the cold and the warm.
So if you can't already tell, we have like a separator wall down here that would go extend all the way down to the ground.
Because most cold storage facilities aren't going to be all one temperature. So we may have several different areas where we'll have a blast freezer and a cooler, maybe an office space. And so in this particular area where we won't have the IMP coming up through the metal deck, it'll be separated out on the roof level. So this, for example, could be the office area, which could be 70 degrees. And then over on this side, we could have a cooler where maybe we're down to 32 degrees. And so what we want to do is make sure that we're separating out our hot and our cold, because we want to keep the warm air on one side and the cold air on the other side.
Well, just to reiterate, I mean, this is just one example of an area like this. There could be other examples where the roof comes all the way up, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But you could run into this on a job where it's not actually separated on the rooftop.
Mm-hmm.
This is where the contractor is going to have to deal with this. So, I mean, you can elaborate on why we're doing this, why this membrane's underneath this, why this is on top. The contractors know how to go about doing this.
Well, this goes back to the basics that we talked about previously, where we want to make sure that we're sealing everything airtight. We don't want any.
So all our flutes are filled.
All the flutes are filled,
foam.
spray foam. Also at the perimeters, so back here where we have the deck to wall intersection, we want to make sure that it's cut flat so that when we put our rigid board insulation on top, it can sit flat.
So back up a little bit. This membrane here, so this membrane this actually gets glued on the warm side of the building to the deck, correct?
Yep. We want to make sure we have a nice airtight seal here.
Okay. And then this gets mechanically attached, and any layer could be 2 layers, it all depends how much the insulation package is. Those will get low-rise foamed above that.
That's right.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that our fasteners are buried so that any thermal bridging where we may have air that's able to come through our roof system, we want to make sure that that stops here, because when we adhere the subsequent layers, the air is no longer able to travel through the fastener penetration.
Yeah, maybe let's just spin this a little bit because maybe they can see this membrane. This kind of looking straight at it, but this actually comes up, this unflat comes up through here and then goes onto this part of the deck and everything gets covered from there.
Yep.
So Kristin, we talked about how to do all this. If contractor doesn't do this area correctly, just roofs over everything, doesn't even worry about it, what could happen in areas like this?
Well, the worst thing that happens is that we allow the warm air to meet the cold, and we know that when that happens, we get condensation. And when you're talking about inside a cold storage facility, that could turn to icicles or snow flurries. Sometimes it'll turn to icy surfaces, so
which
slips,
is not good if
trips,
you're
or
working inside,
falls.
or if you got stalactites of ice hanging from the ceiling of the building. Yeah.
You don't want that falling down on your head.
Yeah, not a good situation, because so it's very critical these are done correctly.
Mm-hmm.
That's not an easy fix.
Not an easy fix, so we want to do it right the first time.
Thanks for joining Roofing Right with Dave Wally. If you want any further information, feel free to look at our website, gaf.com/coldstorage.